Guys, I know that my life is literally like upside down right now. I mentioned it in the last video. I'm in the process of moving and it's been way more stressful than I anticipated. Maybe someday I'll tell you guys the story, maybe on a live stream, because I do need to vent out. But for right now, until it's over, I gotta focus. But there was no way in hell that I was not gonna comment on everything that is happening. There's so many things happening. Like Team Tutberidze LLC, the K-pop company who's not a K-pop company, in the span of like a day, they dropped a lot on us. Before I move into that, I just do want to mention really quick that it's come out that Italy has actually put in a bid to host the replacement for the Grand Prix Cup of China that was canceled. So maybe we'll have a Grand Prix in Italy? That sounds amazing to me. And yeah, hopefully we'll see all of our favorite skaters in Italy or somewhere, because we need Cup of China, Cup of Italy or whatever to happen. Anyways, now moving on to Team Tutberidze, who, again, within 24 hours has just a lot going on. Or not even Team Tutberidze LLC, but the people under the umbrella. Honestly, I couldn't have planned this better myself. So first, we have Kostornaia, whose birthday it is. And you'd imagine, what is an 18-year-old going to do for her 18th birthday? Probably go out to eat with friends, maybe have a little brunch. Maybe she did all that. But the way that she started her morning was with a first channel interview organized by yours truly, Team Tutberidze LLC. Remember, the last time that she was on First Channel was by giving her "I'm so sorry, please take me back" interview, where she was forced to read her own words of "I smile more often now that I'm with Plushenko," and literally eat them all back and say, "Yeah, I was wrong. That's why I'm back here with my fave, Eteri Tutberidze." And then she very awkwardly smiles at the camera. That obviously didn't happen, but I can't make this up, okay? She's on the First Channel for her birthday, getting a bouquet, being asked to talk about conflicts and how conflicts happen. And it's about her character. And what she said is, conflicts happen. It's important to know how to solve them. Mostly conflicts are because if I think I'm right, I'll defend my opinion to the last you can say almost breath. I'll say that I'm right and that it is like it should be and not what you're trying to tell me. Like, where is the movie? Netflix, HBO, Hulu, where is the series? I can't make this up. And then meanwhile, Maya has got a Puma sponsorship, which was announced by a photo shoot with Kamila Valieva and Alina Zagitova. Alina Zagitova, who's been a Puma spokesperson or face or whatever you want to call it since the last Olympics. She's been doing this for years. So it makes sense to align Kamila Valieva, who's the favorite for the Olympics, also with Puma. But now Maya Khromykh is in there too? I don't know about you, but this sounds like a way better birthday gift, than a First Channel morning interview. But Maya, this for some reason makes me think that Maya's doing very well in training and that they're taking her very seriously because they're taking her branding seriously by aligning her not just with the reigning Olympic champion, Alina Zagitova, but with the favorite to win this upcoming Olympics, Kamila Valieva. So I'm just like, is Maya Khromykh doing something that we don't know? Is her training just going superbly well? Like, I don't know. Maybe Maya is a bigger contender than I thought. Maybe Maya will go to the Olympics and my face reveal that I promised will happen due to Maya getting there. I don't know. To me, like, I just think, where is the Aliona Kostornaia sponsorship? Just from like a greedy, money-hungry point of view. Trusova has Adidas, which she has had ever since she became the Russian Rocket under Tutberidze in the juniors. And she even has like a yogurt sponsorship, which she's doing like, she did a commercial for, and now she's doing cringy Instagram videos for. And I don't think Daria is gonna get anything unless she gets a triple axel. I don't see sponsorships in her future, at least not big name sponsorships like Puma, Nike, Adidas, even Under Armour, which is like the Yuzu staple. Thank you, Under Armour, for those beautiful Yuzu pictures. Meanwhile, Kostornaia, who undoubtedly, honestly, right now has one of the most high profiles in that camp. Even when Sherpakova wins the nationals for a third year in a row, the titles aren't about her winning, it's about Tutberidze. Kostornaia has constantly been in the limelight, first because of being part of 3A, then she was the reigning European champion, I think she still is, and then she was in the middle of all that Plushenko versus Tutberidze drama, so she's very much always in the spotlight, but yet no sponsorship. So I don't know if that should tell me anything about how serious they see her as a contender for the Olympics. Hopefully it doesn't mean much. Maybe it's me reading much into who gets a sponsorship, who doesn't. But I will say that I was very surprised that Maya got a sponsorship with a photo shoot with Kamila Valieva and Alina Zagitova. I did not think her profile was that high and that they would want to brand her so close in connection to these two, the Olympic champion and the favorite for the Olympics. Like, is Maya the superstar that we have just been missing? I don't know. It's making me think. It's making me reevaluate. Then, as we had Kostornaia explaining her character on morning television, we had the one, the only, the love of my life, Evgenia Medvedeva, give a long and in-depth interview on YouTube talking about every hot topic you've wanted her to talk about. So I think we should go through some of the highlights, if you will. The main thing that everybody's talking about is the fact that Evgenia confirmed something which we already knew. If you remember, Lashev, who's the director of Sambo 70, spoke about this about a year ago, talking about how Tutberidze knew well in advance that Evgenia was leaving because Evgenia followed the correct protocol in terms of paperwork. But Tutberidze, in the moment, said that she found out through the media. Not only that, but then showed her phone, showing that Evgenia ghosted her. Very much calculated and targeted comments to villainize and paint Evgenia in an already negative light. Tutberidze was just muddying the waters which any way that she could. And Evgenia in this interview just states as the fact that it is from her own mouth, which is new since only Lashev had kind of said this before, and we don't take anything that he says so seriously. She says that she wanted to talk personally about her leaving with Tutberidze, but that she felt that it was boiling so much the tension that it just would go wrong, and that she was proven right by how messy the breakup was, because it truly was a breakup. And she says, not to be mean, oh my God, my little heart, I love her. Not to be mean, but it's not true. She certainly did not learn it from the media, she learned it from the Federation. And that she wanted to do it personally, but because it was so tense, she decided that having a third party involved would be the best way to break the news and just kind of leave as silently as possible. If she had done it in person, it would have just been even worse than what happened in 2018, which I can't even imagine how much worse it could have been. Because Evgenia really was called every name under the sun. She even talks about the most hurtful aspect of that whole situation. What has offended you the most from what the media wrote about you? And she says, the hardest thing is when they called me a traitor to my motherland. When she went to Canada, people continuously called her a traitor. I will never understand at all compatriots, people who watch figure skating all their lives and supported Russia only because I changed my environment in Toronto, without changing my country for which I speak for and skate for, without changing my patriotic views. They called me a traitor to the homeland. And I did this all to continue skating for Russian Federation and to please the fans. She's always said that. She left to continue skating. If she had stayed, she wasn't sure if her body could even handle it. I never understood what right they have to say that. People should watch their words. And I don't know, there should be a criminal liability for this. If you turn your tongue to say this, it means that your brain must turn to be responsible for your words. And she even admitted that she went to a psychologist or a therapist because there were times where it was really, really rough to hear what everybody had to say about her in terms of her being a traitor. And that's why I think Tutberidze's words were so hurtful, because it was a targeted attack. She wanted people to turn on Evgenia, to hurt Evgenia, because she was hurt, because she was left without being told goodbye and with no bouquet, which is not enough justification to mentally, which you've already physically scarred, but also mentally scar even further this teen girl. It baffles my mind. The interviewer asked her that maybe the people were insulting her, calling her a traitor because they wanted her to explain her decision. And she says, if a person wants an explanation, they ask a question. They say, Jen, what happened? Maybe there's some discomfort. Were you influenced? There should be a dialogue. If you want to get an answer, just ask a question. She says, I was not ready to answer in an expanded form. Even now, I'm not ready to answer what influenced such a sharp change in the situation. I think that over the years, I'll still will be able to fully tell my reason for leaving. People need to understand that every person has the right to answer or not answer questions. I'm not obliged to answer provocative questions. A lot of people talk to me. They convinced me that there was no need to react like that. I also worked with a psychologist on this topic because at some point it was really hard. And that is the moment where it breaks my heart, and I just get really angry by the way that Atari decided to react when losing a dear student. A girl is just trying to survive. Because at that point, her body was just trying to survive. Which is another thing that she also opens up about, her relationship to food. She has admitted that she had eating disorder in the past. The interviewer says, You said you're learning a relationship with food. Have you had any problems with eating disorders? She says, I had such problems, but I am one of those people who are lucky with the environment, upbringing, and with the opportunity to give myself time to recover. You just need to let the brain eat off. Was it bulimia or just overeating? There was no bulimia, thank God. It didn't come to that. Breakdowns and overeatings there were. You constantly go on diets, you keep yourself, and then you blow through the roof and eat everything. And then you come to your senses again for a week. She then talks about her weight, but I'm gonna absolve the information because I do think talking about weight, regardless of whether or not you want it to influence you, it does. And maybe there's some young girls watching, and I don't want you to be influenced in that regards. If you want to search it up, you can yourself. But she does say that when she left to Canada, she got with a nutritionist and gained weight, and then she found it hard to jump, so she lost weight again now that she's back in Russia. And she is a little bit about the same as when she was at the Olympics, which she already was scarily thin. But she says that she's better now in terms of her relationship with food. Then in terms of when the interviewer, of course, wants to know, how are you with Tutberidze now? We are both good. We both got screwed up. I don't relieve myself of responsibility either. I know my character. I know who brought this character in me, so we're both good. The most important thing is that everything is fine now, and we try not to look back. We have sworn to not talk about the past. So basically what I thought already was kind of the consensus for her to come back. That they would come back, they would move forward in terms of, getting her back in shape and just keeping her in figure skating. But talking about the past, I would imagine Evgenia was the one who set her foot down and was like, let's just not even open that door. Because I don't know how else she can return to a Tutberidze without just kind of being like, let's just forget what happened. Because there's so much that happened. Even just saying, let's forget what happened is a big, they're both being the bigger person if they're both the ones who agreed, let's just not talk about the past. Because it could be very easy to just revert to old drama. Another thing that she says is that when she was at her peak, she got praises from her mother and from her grandmother, but not really her coach. And she says that she didn't really need it at the time because she was 15. She didn't even know what was really going on. But as she kept on working, the more that she worked, the more that she wanted the chance to get that approval. And she ended up getting it just from work and in the form of trust. She saw that her coach at Terry trusted her and believed in her. But then she realized that, in the languages of love, it's important for her to hear that she's being appreciated. That is her love language. Which, honestly, good to know. Thanks, Evgenia. She does talk about Tutberidze's methods in a very vague way. They ask her, if the coach was softer, would you not have achieved anything? She says, this is 100%, I would not have achieved it. Her methods do work, but as you get older, it gets harder and harder to endure every year. Then you either need to change your brain and devote more time to your mental health or just endure it. There is no other option. Which is what we have seen, is that her methods work for young kids, and then when you start to grow older, as your body starts to feel the effects of that hard work and it starts to change and you need to start to adapt to it, you start wondering why it is that the same methods don't just work as easily, and it starts affecting your head, your mental health. And then it becomes not just a physical barrier, but a mental barrier that can just break you down as a person. And she says it. Either you devote more time to your mental health or you just endure it. There is no other option if you want to stay under the Tutberidze ways. And she decided that she was going to go to Canada, and the whole world, spearheaded by Tutberidze, decided to call her a traitor for it, which was not the solution she was looking for to, help her body and her mind. Let's just say that. Of course, she was also asked about Alina, we all know, due to that famous, or I would say infamous, press conference, that they are not even the best of friends, they're just not friends. They're not friends at all. They ask her, what is your relationship with Alina now? She says, neutral, normal. We say hello, we say goodbye, but we're not friends. Does it bother you that you were always, kind of rivaled against each other in the media? She says, I don't like to be in bad relations with people, especially when I am told that I offended someone, because if I didn't do it, then maybe someone thought something, that maybe I was in a bad mood. This also happens. Perhaps I was angry, but I know for sure that I never intended to offend a person. But when I am credited with insulting someone, that I'm scum in general, well, who likes that? So I'm guessing she doesn't like being put up against Alina because of the malicious rumors that always start coming up against each other. They're always fighting, and etc. Have you and Alina discussed this somehow? She says, I had such conversations against all this in the background. We, in my opinion, removed each other from friends, we unsubscribed from each other, then we followed each other again, and that's all. I somehow approached this and said, maybe, well, something like that. Our relationship is normal. I have no idea what that means. But somehow this topic has come to nothing. Nothing has changed. I think, well, okay, the main thing is that I am pure in front of myself. I literally have no idea what any of that means. I'm guessing the answer is just a lot of bullshit and being like, hey, we're not friends. We don't have to follow each other on social media, so why do you care? Okay. That's how I interpreted that. Maybe this is just a horrible translation. And yeah, those were kind of the greatest hits of this interview. Oh my God, how am I gonna forget this? And of course, the question that we all want answered is, are we gonna see Evgenia possibly in the future in a competitive setting? She's asked, are you already done leaving the big sport or just temporarily suspended? She says, in fact, this story is quite long. I do not want to go into details about health problems now. Everybody knows what happened. Back problems, coronavirus, seriously ill. It knocked me out of shape. I lost a lot of weight and all my muscles were gone. I don't like this topic. It turned out that I was kicked out of the national team. I wonder if kicked out is the correct translation. I wonder if she felt like she was actually kicked out or if it's just badly translated. She continues, and I probably decided that I would not qualify for the selection of the Olympics. This season is definitely a no-go. Then we'll see. Are you planning to make any statements yet? She says, not yet. It's just that over the past 4 years, my life has changed so dramatically that I realized that as soon as you renounce, everything turns out to be exactly the opposite. Maybe this is some feature of my fate or orders from above. So essentially says, I'm not ready to state anything, whether I'm retiring or whether I'm continuing. I'm just here. And you know what? It's a vibe. I get it. We all just here existing. Believe me, right now I have no idea what I'm doing or how it's gonna turn out. But if Evgenia can get through it, then girl, I can get through this moving. Also, the fact that Team Tutberidze's official Instagram is not promoting this Genia interview at all, even the Overbook Ice show is promoting it. Like, the fact that Team Tutberidze is like, I do not see. If I do not see, it is not there, is amazing. They obviously were like, this is not Tutberidze Terry approved. Oh my God. I wonder how good are these good terms that they're on. I think they're just like, how would I say this? I feel like they're just cohabitating. But not even. They're just partnered together because they know that together they're stronger financially. Like Tutberidze can get Evgenia sponsorships and ice time, and Evgenia doesn't have to worry about that. I don't know. I feel like these good terms that they're on means basically we don't talk, but when we have to, we act like nothing happened. Like, that's what good terms means to me. We don't really interact unless we're face to face. And when we're face to face, it's not really that awkward anymore. That's how I feel it. But yeah, Team Tutberidze official on Instagram did not even try a bit as of right now to promote this interview at all. Which, again, tells me Terry Tutberidze did not even know this interview was coming. And if she did, she was just like, let's not acknowledge it at all. To recap, possibly getting a Cup of Italy to replace the Cup of China. Then, Maya Khromykh might be a bigger contender than we all thought because she's doing a Puma endorsement with Kamila Valieva and Alina Zagitova. Then, Kostornaia's birthday came up and she still has those sponsorships, but we got a little morning interview. And then we had an explosive interview with Evgenia Medvedeva where she hit on a lot of topics which people have been constantly talking about since 2018 and seem like they can't get enough of. Literally the same 5 questions every year, and every coming year she gives us a little bit more information. Honestly, I just can't wait for that book. I need you to write a tell-all book. I don't care if you're on good terms with Terry Tutberidze now. I need you to write a tell-all book. Thank you, because that is the way that we're gonna get a series based off of your book. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. I know the Junior Grand Prix in Courchevel, France happened, but the Russians and the Japanese were not able to go, so honestly, my interest was very low. I did see the Canadians and the Americans that won, and good for them, but I need all the best to be there for me to... That sounded so bad, I'm so sorry. Congratulations to all the very talented girls that won that first Grand Prix for the juniors, but I honestly do want all the countries to be there. And yeah, As always, shout out to Timothy, Natalia, Leslie, and Scotty. Sorry for the noise in the background. My neighbor is cutting his grass, and why now, we don't know. If you want to support me, Patreon link is down below, Twitter link is down below, and merch store is down below. I will be releasing new merch to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of my first figure skating video in about a month, I believe. And as always, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!